Yep.
What if we became the only Magic podcast with ad libs, like your rap song? Like, brah,
Sure.
Whoa. Should I be? I'll just do that while you guys are talking.
Yeah, just do it randomly. Whenever.
Try not to derail you. Okay.
Yep.
All right, let's see how it goes.
Yeah, why not?
All right.
Evan, take it away.
Aloha and welcome to the MoxStars podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Evan Kunai.
It felt very natural.
Not jarring at all.
Yo, what's up? I'm Jordan Garcia, dude.
Yeah, there he is. And we've got Christopher Ritter.
A normal thing.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's a very
Yep.
normal thing. We're
Hello.
becoming the first Magic the Gathering podcast to do ad libs. So
Aw, yeah.
DJ Green Lantern.
DJ Green.
And so, if you would like to support the show and support our ad lib sensation, Jordan Garcia, you can find us in the link below. You can find us at most every single podcast platform, and you can find us on YouTube. If you find us on YouTube, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell for more notifications. Today, we are talking about a few things. We're going to open up the table by talking about where you can find the MoxStars at your local Washington tournaments. And then we're going to transition seamlessly, mind you, seamlessly,
Zero seams.
into Midrange. Like talking about how Midrange has taken over and has become the meta for nearly every single format. Well, and mostly focusing on like CEDH. Yeah.
Yeah.
Seamless. Very
Okay.
seamless.
Seamless.
Totally seamless.
That was
No-
actually a seamless introduction.
Yeah.
Speaking about how seamless the whole show was
We're
going to be.
sponsored by Seamless now.
Whoa.
No?
Is that a company?
It is.
It is, yeah.
Oh, what do they make?
Seems funny enough.
Seams, yeah. Yep.
Seems
Invisible
nice.
seams. Seems
That's actually
nice.
their tagline. It's
Yep.
crazy.
Yep.
All right.
Can't sue us because we're not talking about the real seams.
Seamless if you want to support us, whatever. Okay. Jordan and I are going to be appearing on May 20th at Gabby's Olympic Cards and Comics
Yep.
we would like to say Olympia, Washington. It's a different town, but you're very close to Olympia, Washington.
In my head, it's Olympia,
Yeah,
Washington.
in my head too. That's what I always think.
Gabby's Cards and Comics near Olympia, Washington.
Olympic Cards and Comics.
Olympic Cards and Comics
Which would-
near
Their
Gabby,
cards.
Washington. Got
Which
it.
makes me think.
Nailed it.
If you
And
type
it's
all those
Olympia.
words into Google, you will get the right answer.
One take. Yep.
Yeah, and so we're going there. We're playing in a CDH tournament. You can find Jordan and I there. We'll be playing a couple of our favorite decks. The thing being with this tournament, there are no proxies allowed, and so
No proxies.
yeah, no proxies at all
Real.
all the time.
Nothing but
And-
cardboard.
Cash on
Yeah.
the table.
I mean, that's the big thing that like sort of other tournaments are starting to be more or lenient about are proxies in general, and so this is one that's actually incredibly strict.
It's kind of
So-
weird. Like, honestly, they're the only ones at
Yeah.
this point that I know of that are no proxies.
Yeah, and it's just because of the culture they've built, I think. You know, like with that whole thing, they have seasons going on, so like all of those like regular players come in, they know it's no proxies, they build their decks so they can compete all season without proxies. And then this tournament that we're going to is like what are they're calling it? Like the showdown, like the season 2 showdown.
Hoedown Showdown.
That is what it is. Yeah.
That was exactly. How'd you know?
Gabby's Hoedown Showdown. It's famous. I've been seeing the ads.
Honestly, if they're not
Yeah.
calling it that, they need to stop what they're doing and call
Yeah.
And
it
you
that.
probably heard it because the MoxStars are going to be there.
Yeah, featuring the MoxStars.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a county fair ad. For,
2 of the 3 MoxStars,
Yeah.
though. You know, much like a county fair, you don't usually get like the full.
yep, you're getting deep fried Oreos
Yeah.
as well, I think.
You can come out and see the MoxStars at Gabby's Hot Showdown.
Seamless.
Seamless.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Presented by
that's
Seamless.
That's May 20th that Jordan and I will be there.
what deck are you bringing so everybody can prepare to hate you out of the game?
I'm still flopping, but I did just spend a little bit of money. I am playing Shalai and Halar.
Shalai and Halar. What is that color combination?
It is Naya, of course.
Okay.
It is 1 and then a red, green, and white, and it says it's a 3/3 flying vigilance angel elf. that whenever you put a +1/+1 counter on a creature you control, Shalai Halar deals 1 damage to target opponent.
That's like the opposite of Habatra.
Yeah, yeah, kind of. It's
he has his window where he likes to operate, you know?
Yeah.
It's usually Naya,
yeah, usually and only in Naya. It's not even
except for
usually.
Hepatra.
Yeah, there you go. And
But
Xerus.
it deals with +1/+1 counters.
Yep. So it goes infinite very easily with two cards that are pretty easy to assemble with just so it's a 2-card combo deal.
What are the combo?
The Red Terror. So from Warhammer 40k, whenever a red source you control deals damage to an opponent, you put a +1/+1 counter on the Red Terror.
All will be one is the other thing going on there? Or?
No, I'm actually not even playing that because it goes infinite.
That card
with,
sucks.
It does suck.
Get it out of here.
It's a bad card.
It sucks. And then the other card is Heliod, Sun Crowned. Yeah, because you give Shalai and Alara lifelink.
Yep.
And then bing, 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 bing.
Ping, 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 ping.
Yep. And Jordan, what are you playing?
I'm playing more Grixis bullshit, except for I'm playing new Grixis bullshit.
You guys are both on your bullshit.
both on the bullshit.
Jordan's got this window in which he likes to operate.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny. I give Evan shit and I do the same thing. I don't know. I do think it's important to like play what you know, play what you're comfortable with, you know, like especially in like a tournament level setting. Like you want to be able to like know what the tutor's getting you, all that kind of stuff, and usually know like the mana requirements for the combos. I find I've been hopping around a lot with decks lately, and it's just definitely throwing me off a little bit. So I'm trying to like pick one and cement my feet down a little bit. So Tavesh Krom, I'm going to be fucking around with a little bit.
Okay. Why that combination?
Well, a little sneak preview into our main topic, but we are talking about mid-range.
Seamless.
Mid-range
presented by Seamless.
Exactly right. Seamless, you should sponsor us. But anyway, yeah, so it's doing the same Grixis Turbo bullshit, but it affords me a lot more mid-range options. It affords me 2 value engines in the command zone that if I get blown out or if I don't feel like it's the safe time to go for the win, say with the Adnons, I have other things to do always. And like those things are always getting me new cards, which keeps me giving me things to do.
Big picture, mid-range kind of wants everyone in top deck mode, and you want your top deck and options to be better. Is that kind of?
Yeah, pretty much. You're you know, I'm playing the control, or I'm not a control deck, but I am playing the interaction suite that Grixis comes with. So it allows me to stop those early wins off of, you know, the Rog size, the Nagilas, the quick winners. And try and like go for this, what we're talking about, this like win second kind of meta right now, right? So, you know, everybody talks about the rock, paper, scissors like concept of stacks, mid-range, and turbo. And it felt like for a long time, you know, with Rog side just getting better and better and more aggressive, like that was kind of king. And, you know, we've seen over the last, we've talked about plenty of episodes about how good Stacks is, right?
The best.
We've just seen that develop, and more pieces have been printed recently too, more archetypes, more commanders to support those archetypes, all of that. So I don't see that stopping anytime soon. And so usually when Stacks is on top, usually the good competitor for that, the good contender for that would be mid-range.
Yeah, but before we actually take our super deep dive, we are going to another tournament as well. Where we'll be taking the same decks, but fully flexed out because it's completely proxy friendly. We're going to be going to Laughing Dragon MTG on the 27th.
In Issaquah.
Issaquah, indeed.
Laughing Dragon MTG in Issaquah.
Shout out. It was really nice to find these guys because, you know, for a long time we thought Gabby's was the closest, and in fact these guys are much closer, and they're running a local CDH league. They're running tournaments. It's pretty sweet how active they are.
So for you guys with these 2 decks that we're talking about that you're bringing to both tournaments, what is the difference between the no proxy version and the proxy version?
Good question.
Mostly for me it's just like duels in yeah, that's pretty much it. I already have like a Gaia's Cradle and a Sarah Sanctum, so a lot of those like expensive pieces I already own. Mox Diamond is going to be a big one for me. I do have to like put in a trade-in for that soon.
So Mox Diamond is probably a very necessary piece in that shell, right?
Yeah. I think
because you need that fast mana, and it's
yeah, especially for this deck. I think that when you play a 3-color commander where you're not playing partners, you're not splitting the mana costs like in the colors,
like some people.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
You know, it's it's important to have those like rocks that are going to generate one of any color. And it's also why I'm playing Lotus Petal in the deck too, is just because like it helps me get to that Shalai Alara that much quicker.
Yep. A 4 CMC commander, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
So like it's just a weird spot. Like it's why Taeyam was never like really viable, or well, it is viable.
What
100% viable.
what turn do you want to go off?
Usually just turn 4 or 5.
Oh, that's pretty late.
Yeah,
surprisingly.
Yeah. I want to like lay a foundation and then secure the win. Like
Got it.
I want it to be like absolute. I don't, it can be explosive, but with how color restrictive Shalai Alara is, it's hard to make it explosive.
Got it.
Right? Where like Zakama, I could lock down the board. It's actually kind of crazy. I could go Zakama turn 2 and then play control the rest of the game. But this is actually a little bit different in the approach. So.
Got it. What about you, J-Dog? What's the difference between the bling and the not bling?
That's a good question. Well,
Because you have the duels. You have...
I'm one duel short, so I'll be proxying up, or I guess I won't be proxying up. I will be taking out my proxied tropical Volk Island.
Folk Island, they're not expensive, right? $900 is the cheapest you can get one, right?
Correct.
Something like that.
Nice, dude.
Oh, cool. Are you...
Spilled Coke on
Yeah,
his
just
pants.
so all the listeners are at home, Evan just spilled. Hey, just to be clear,
I thought you were saying nice about his abs, honestly.
his wet abs because he just spilled
glistening
Coke all over.
abs.
This is distracting.
Yeah.
I'm trying to clean up. Leave me alone.
I just wanted to clarify why we got derailed for the people listening at home. Anyway, seamless. Anyway, yeah. So I just got to take out the Volk Island, and I'm pretty sure all I need to buy is a skull clamp.
Dope.
And
That's a cheapie.
Yeah, I think I have. actually.
Not so cheap. Not as cheap as we were hoping.
Well, yeah, I want that new the secret layer one.
Oh, the one with Metal Gear Solid shit
We
going on.
fucked up. We didn't buy them.
$25.
I mean, that's not so bad because, Skull Clamp, I'm sure we've got 5 different $8 versions of it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. There's definitely like your $5 to $8.
That's not too much inflation.
Other one is that Surge foil from
from Warhammer?
Yeah, that one's
That's
even more,
sick.
bro. It's $30.
Oh, that's $30?
Yeah.
I got one of those bad boys.
Good
Yeah,
shit.
it's a good
You like
pickup.
that? How does the Surge foil look? I still haven't
Looks
even.
sick.
Yeah.
I got a Red Terror Surge.
What would you?
Nice.
Did you actually get the Gears? The other one, the secret layer one, too.
The
No.
Metal
You
Gear
should
Solid
buy
one?
No, but I want it.
Yeah, me too.
I kind of want to.
The Tezzeret the Seeker's expensive too. Like
It
we went
is.
to like, because sometimes when you like look at the whole set and you realize 2 cards are the most expensive parts of it, you can get the box, like the sealed box, for cheaper than what the whole is. But they're actually charging more for the box.
Yeah, they want
sealed.
like 85, 90.
Yeah,
for it?
85 to
wild.
100. Yeah.
Wild.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Anyway, super stoked. Come say hi to us if you see us at these tournaments. And we're also on the CSEA EDH Discord for us to just jam some games.
Yeah, that's a new platform that we found that has an incredibly welcoming community and very social too. They're all like communicating all the time, trying to meet in person, and we're really excited to be a part of that.
Dope.
And before we seamlessly transition into our main topic, we also
What's up?
have a Discord where you can jam, check out new spoilers, talk about deck ideas, run some games.
Yeah,
You're a little hot on the mic.
What?
You're a little hot on the mic
What do you mean?
just now.
You're so sexy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. No, got a little pop.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, yes.
No, what are you apologizing being sexy?
Sorry.
No, we got
I'll take it down a
our
notch.
Discord link in the description below. You can jump on there, and we've been talking with people about like deck techs, honestly, for like the last few days. So we've been getting
Checking
more
out
active
these 2 decks or giving advice to other people.
to other people, just like people putting their deck lists up. And Guy, you are
Shout out, Guy.
you're awesome. Yeah, we're looking forward to playing with you.
This is on
Against-
our Discord.
Yeah?
Yeah, on
Okay.
Discord. Yeah.
Come in and like,
Yeah, no, I'm
talk
deeply
about some
involved,
brews.
obviously.
it just started. We just got it up and going. You were out of town last week.
Uh-huh.
Come
yeah.
talk about some brews. You know,
Okay, for
like
sure.
we have like this. Evan set up everything, so we got spots to run games for Spell Table. We got the spoiler bot, so we're always talking about the new shit coming out.
Dope.
Yeah, come say hi. Come join the Discord.
I will.
The dope is dope.
All right, seamlessly transitioning right now. It's seamless because I said so.
Yep.
Mid-game, mid-range.
Main topic presented by Seamless. Brought to you by Subaru Outback.
All right, so I guess how do we define mid-range?
That is a good definition. You know, you can pick out the deck and say like, hey, that's a mid-range deck. Like Winota, hey, that's a mid-range deck, right?
Some people want to pick by what time it tries to win.
Right.
I guess.
Like what turn are you expecting to win? Like how? I guess for me, it's more the strategy you're developing. Right.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think the what turn do you win on? It doesn't necessarily define like those concepts.
Yeah. For me, when I think mid range, I think classic. What is now Boomer Jund. That forms my mental image.
Okay.
Yeah, it's actually perfect.
So you're talking about Boomer Jund.
Boomer Jund. That's the the shell of the Jund shell changes, right? There's always a Jund deck in Modern. Right. Boomer Jund is kind of the shell that has your Tarmogoyfs, your Liliana the Veil, your things of that nature. First, there's many different ways you can take it.
Sure. Yeah. That's new terminology for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dope.
For sure. I mean, those decks were rampant. That's why Tarmogoyf was $80 for a long time. So that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I think when I think about mid range, I think about playing off your back foot, right, and progressing your game plan while also being able to answer. It's like for me, mid game is Ip Man, like I realized as a Magic deck, attack while defending. So, Wing Chun.
Okay.
So breaking this down by
Let's
martial
get deep.
arts.
Yeah.
What martial art is each archetype?
Yeah. No, yeah.
Now, control is Jeet Kune Do, obviously.
Whoa.
No, it wouldn't be.
Whoa. What's turbo?
Probably Taekwondo would be control. Turbo would be Jeet Kune Do because you're just fucking going for the throat.
No, what's the Aikido? That would be control,
Aikido,
right?
yeah. You're right. That might be
Actually-
Tempo. Tempo might be Aikido.
Yeah, I could see that.
I regret starting this because I have no idea what you guys.
None of this makes sense.
More. Yeah.
I'm not sure your original analogy made sense, but
What it totally does. Ip Man is mid range to
Shout out to the one person listening that's fringe enough to understand everything we just said.
Yeah.
60 seconds.
no
Maybe John Gabris, if he's listening.
like
Shout out John. Let's have him on the show.
value is more important than gas. I guess like the turbo decks they want to gas out, and I guess when I think about mid range, I'm not sitting there with my pants down because I got stopped halfway through my combo on turn 3.
You got better 1-for-1s.
Right.
Yeah, they're always the one that I see not stopping the game in its tracks right now, but they're the one that is in second place clawing at first, right? Like there's the Winota deck shutting everything down, and then there's the Thrasio deck resolving a Seedborn Muse, passing the turn. Like, yeah, the Winota deck might be like eking out that advantage at first, but the second that Seedborn comes down and that turn cycle happens, and then another one happens, and then another one happens, like that, the window for winning just starts changing aggressively into the mid-range gamers player.
Favor. Yeah, card advantage is huge. Like we know that you can be explosive with like Adnaz, and like Turbo Adnaz is still alive and well. Like I think that deck will always find a place because you will be able to shoot the gap and you will still be able to win on turn 2 or whatever, turn 1 potentially. But like with mid-range, you start to like look at like everyone is going to mulligan based on, because you're going to see the commanders, and this is like strictly talking about like, about CDH, but like you're going to be able to see those commanders, and you're going to be able to mulligan aggressively to combat what you know is to be a regular behavior from decks like that. So you see Rog Sai in the command zone, you're probably looking at it like, oh, I know their windows, and know they're going to aggressively mulligan to get off the ground incredibly fast, like, right? Or they're going to mulligan until they get a Mr. Kimura and then bank on the fish feeding them, like type deal. So you can then like as a mid-range deck, you can mulligan to either put a stacks piece in your hand or to like, I mean, there is the potential to go just as fast as a turbo deck in mid-range. Like those pieces still exist in the shell.
Right. And you're always like, while you're mulliganing, you're always considering your position. So if you get to go first, resolving, a blind obedience, maybe not authority of the consoles, but a blind obedience kind of effect, root maze effect, Dranith, anything to like stop that and going first. That's what you got to do.
Yeah. It just like fast mana is something that you're mulliganing for pretty much every single game, right? You're not going to like start the game unless you're not going to play a land on turn 1 without having a dork, without having something to play. It's like if you played a land and pass, you better I mean, be holding up interaction. And if you're not holding up interaction, you just wasted your turn. You're actually behind.
Yeah, significant.
By quite a bit.
By a lot.
So, Midrange wants to develop value engines that push them further into the game, because we're starting to realize that in the meta that winning first isn't the goal, right? Like pushing for the W as fast as possible often results in you being stopped because interaction is still out there.
Yeah, you're putting the target on yourself. You're also going for broke, expending all your resources.
Yes.
Mid-range really wants to early game just stop you from winning, prevent you from winning, being the one having interaction there while also developing a board state, and then by not expending resources, going for the win when everyone else has exhausted their resources and they're just trying to draw into what they need to win. You're in the best position because you weren't trying to win until then.
Right. Yeah, I think the perspective I would have on, like, we were talking about, like, mulliganing and stuff and what you're looking for. Like, the turbo deck in my head is looking for the fast mana into the tutor for the win or just the win in hand.
Yep.
And then maybe one piece of greedy interaction to protect it, right? Because you're going first, your plan is to go fast. That's where you hold up the daze, the force of will, whatever. But the mid-range deck is more like it's looking for some fast mana, but maybe not the same kind. Recurable mana, rocks, dorks, first rituals. And then usually like a card advantage engine to sit on with some removal or interaction rather. Because that way you're not using that interaction on the turn 2 to keep you like winning, like the combo that you're presenting, but it's just a easy blowout for the person that just wrecked their hand. And then you just Ristic Study pass turn, and then all of a sudden that person's completely out of the game for the next 3 rounds.
Yes.
And you are just becoming king.
Yeah, Ristic Studies. Yeah, if you can deflect somebody off their like game plan and then put down a Ristic Study, you are going to be sitting pretty.
Put in any value engine, any unchecked value engine.
You want to be in the position to take the best advantage of that window that's created by the first person blowing their wad.
Correct, exactly. Yeah. And it's just like, that's why circling back to the deck I chose, as I want 2 just fatty value engines in the command zone, because Adnaz is 5 mana, Tavesh is 5 mana, Krom is 5 mana. All 3 of those cards draw me cards and will get me closer to winning the game. So it's just, now the deck is get to 5 mana versus like tutor, cast Adnaz before turn 2, otherwise your opportunity starts closing very quickly when people start resolving permanents.
Yeah, you still want cards in hand that you can play every turn cycle,
right?
Versus having depleting your hand, like just going for it,
right? And there's some really good mid range these days, like Displacer Kitten. It's really hard to find a home for Displacer Kitten in a greedy, aggressive ad nauseum decks because it's a 4 mana slot, and you're doing something that's not winning the game on turn 2. So that's usually ill advised. Yeah. But I think it's just extremely powerful. So I'm excited to just put it in the deck and try it out and fuck around with it a little bit.
Yeah, greedy decks get very, they can be boring to play because they get very narrow.
Very narrow,
right? Because you're trying to do literally just like 2, maybe 3 things.
Yeah.
And everything is what is the pursuit of that goal.
Yeah. And, we're trying to win here, and there's definitely a way to do it. But I feel like I just assessed and realized that I don't think that's how I thrive as a player, is trying to just narrow that window. It's more like I'm trying to open that window. Like I want the ability to go off with Bergie or to go off with Dockside Flickers with Displacer Kitten or Ad Nauseum or my commanders. Like, there's so many more options.
Yeah, we talk about Evan building those Rube Goldberg machines, but you love developing a board state and like just doing crazy stuff.
I do love
that board state,
value engines. I love spinning some fucking value engines.
That's what my Rube Goldberg machines are.
Just watching them whirl.
Just a different flavor of bullshit.
Yeah. Just Grixis first Naya. That's pretty much all it is.
Well, yeah, you've had plenty of experience playing Turbo, and you can speak to it too. It's like the Malcolm like Vile Smasher deck you built was like essentially like you were focusing Turbo Glinthorn combo. Like that's what you want. You want to get there
combos always
as fast as you can, right? Yeah. And so you could almost like pick up when it was coming, when it was, if someone who had played against that deck enough, like I had, like I could, know when to interact. Like Swift reconfiguration is better against that deck than
the card. Yeah, was good against it for sure.
Yeah, and it's like once and that comes around to the next like little side, like aside to this, I want to talk about how good Displacer Kitten is and how it is shaking up the game right now to push these these mid game engines into viability.
Yeah,
because it is almost single-handedly doing it.
Well, I think there's we also have the new Atraxa, and you know, this speaks to other formats as well. It's just everybody's playing mid-range. There's mid-range is becoming viable across the board because we're getting better reanimation targets. We're getting these better mid-range engines. Displacer Kitten is just
Underworld
the
Breach is,
newest, hottest.
Even your mid-game engine that's going to win it for you, right? It's the hottest combos in the game are the hottest win cons in the game are the ones that are happening later in the game. They're the ones that are proving to be most effective in getting that dub in at the end of the day, right?
Yeah, there's some lines with Displacer Kitten that outright win the game, but more often than not, I feel like it's just egregious amounts of value that you get. Playtesting these hands, if I see a Dockside that I can cast into a Displacer Kitten, I'll snap keep that every time. I'll get there.
In Grixis, there's always great shit with ETBs.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You'll find there's, I don't know, at least a dozen different ETB effects you can play with in that deck probably, right?
Yeah. Spellseeker being one of the greatest for sure. And there's whole lines that you can do with Spellseeker. There's whole lines you can do with Wishclaw Talisman too, because you can flicker it before you pass it on. So yeah, no, I'm there's a lot of layers to these, and I'm starting to just kind of wrap my head around them a little bit, but the smarter you are and the more practiced you are, you can do a lot. This card will go very, very far.
Yeah, I think the big thing with Displacer Kitten right now is that we used to, in turbo decks, or used to see it a lot, is when you had Dockside, which the whole format of CDH revolves around Dockside.
Even Breach, Breach is fucking busted in one of the best cards, but you still need Dockside, you know?
You still need it, you know? And so we used to play Snap. We used to play Chain of Vapor. We used to play things. Yeah, you still play them because what's it do? It bounces Dockside. It recycles Dockside over and over so you can generate more mana, get more card advantage, and inch yourself that much closer to winning the game. So now we have this cute little 4-mana engine that says, oh, it does it all, and it's on a single body, and I can repeat it over and over and over again. You know, we see it Thrasios Dargo is like Displacer Kitten has a set in there. Anything red-blue should be playing the Displacer Kitten Dockside engine because it just wins you the game. Constantly, most decks, unless you're playing Winota or you're playing some ridiculous Naya bullshit like I do, are not primarily going to be creature based, right? So really the creature based decks only exist in, I mean, not only, but primarily exist in red and white. And then you look at other things that start to include green. Jetmir is great, you know, and the inclusion of that. But anything that plays red, blue, you're playing 2 creatures that your whole deck is sort of hoping to tunnel towards. And I think it's Displacer Kitten now, and it's Dockside. Dockside first, Displacer second.
Yeah, I mean, my deck is literally just tutor for Dockside. That's the whole thing.
Yes. I mean, that's what I want to do, too, because if I get Dockside Emil, I win the game.
That's actually how I feel the deck has changed since switching from Rogside to Veshkram. It is tutor for Dockside instead of tutor for Ad Nauseam.
Dockside is way less risky. It's all upside.
It's way less risky. It's all upside, 100%.
Yeah, and while people will counter a Dockside, I think they're more worried about countering things that come after Dockside.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And the interaction suite that people run, so much harder to hit a Dockside.
Yes.
Yep.
And then go ahead counter it. I'll get my reanimate. I'll just go from there, and I will then punish you for burning that counter spell.
Evan, you hit on a good point that one of the great things about mid-range, and this is any mid-range shell, is that what you're doing to get towards your win con is so intangible that it's hard to know where you have to stick your finger, because the smart player against Jordan's deck is going to know that Dockside is the thing that makes it go off. So you want that interaction to prevent him from starting that cycle,
right?
You know, or getting that mana to get to 5 mana or whatever. But, you know, a lot of the time, unless you have that prior knowledge, you're not going to, it's just intangible. You're not going to know what the actual point to stop it is going to be.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. And when you look at other Dockside strategies, even leaning further into the mid game, it is easy to, well, it's not easy, like Jordan said, to interact with Dockside on the stack. It's coming down, and you're just going to want to interact with whatever, unless you have a force of will and you know that's getting rid of that Dockside is going to be the thing.
Play that blue blast, baby.
Yeah, Jeez. Yeah.
People are playing it more and more, man.
I've seen it more and more. You're right.
Hits Breach, hits fucking Dockside. Those are 2 good cards.
I mean, almost every deck plays red, right? At this point.
Yeah. Anything that doesn't really have a great interactive suite with, Force of Negation or
God,
Winota on the stack.
Man, countering a Jeska's Will sometimes.
Countering Jeska's Will.
Yeah.
Kill a Krark when they go to cast the Sakashima.
Yeah.
That's so crazy how it's like it actually does seem more and more viable.
I hate it. Like, I hate the thought of having to play it. I barely even like the thought of having to play Red Blast, but I'm almost of the mind of switching the two. Like, I feel like blue is just phasing out, but red ain't going nowhere.
You need to stop the breach.
Yeah, like, not everybody's playing a blue deck like they used to, but everybody's playing a fucking red deck.
Everybody.
So I might actually consider at some point cutting. Like, I lose on the counterspell war, but that's about it.
Yeah, Winota is something that's pretty hard to get around. Just that four butt is like
that 4-butt, and like I'm in a Grixis deck like mine, right? I'm playing Toxic Deluge and I'm playing Bounce Effects for my Dockside. Those are my removal spells.
Yeah, and there are actually a lot of decks like that are off. Not necessarily. No, they are meta. I would say they're meta now. Jetmir, I would say you can expect to see one at the tournament, right? So Jetmir is another one of those like creature-based decks that is going to establish itself very early with stacks pieces, have creature-based stacks, and get to the mid game through grinding and punching you in the face, primarily punching anybody playing black to keep the Adnos player off of card advantage. But it's another deck that's sort of just like when New Capenna came out, just exploded onto the scene, and you're like, wow, you can have secondary Winota Commander and still have great viability here.
I feel like I've seen people kind of phase it out a little bit.
The Jetmir? Or
No.
Winota, the secondary hidden Commander Winota.
Yeah, like I've seen just like some bigger stacks where people are, I don't know. It speaks to like the stacks, almost not even the mid range, the late gamers,
Yeah.
the win conless.
Yeah,
bulk.
That's what it is. It's mid. Is that mid game or is that just late game win conless stacks?
I think that's the third party. I think that's the stack.
Okay.
I think that's the difference. Your Jetmir, I would not call it like a mid range engine by any means. He's a great card and he helps these decks win games. But there are stacks decks that are actively trying to stop those value engines to get to the late game. And I think that's what the mid-range Thrasios decks are trying to feed off of right now.
Right. Yeah, and that's good to actually lay down a good, like, actually draw the line. Like, where it's like, that is the late game stacks. We're actually talking about a, like, different strategy.
Yeah, mid-range needs to be able to break through role of law effects, or be less affected by those to win in the, because aggro is trying to win first, mid-range is trying to win second, stacks is trying to win last, essentially. Yep. So, you have to survive through that aggro phase. You also need to win before stacks, creates a board state that you can't get through.
Right, exactly. And that's where, like, when you're the mid-range player and you realize that, like, the other blue player that's the turbo deck is now completely nerfed out of the game right now, that's when you have to, like, devalue the value engine and also make sure that you're controlling the board.
Read Who's the Beatdown.
Exactly, always.
Formative article. Read it. It's part of the canon. It makes sense.
It makes sense. You should definitely read that.
Yeah.
What's it called one more time?
Who's the Beatdown.
Okay.
Yeah, you've read it, right? You're familiar?
No.
Really?
Give a little preview of what it is.
Is it who wrote it? It's one of the famous ones, right?
Top of my head.
Yeah, I don't want to attribute it to the wrong person, but basically, it lays out knowing when you're supposed to win, like and that dictates your strategy. Like what phase of the game are we in? What is your relative position to the other opponents? Because you're not always going to be trying to win the game. Sometimes you're trying to control. Sometimes you're trying to survive. Sometimes you're doing this. When are you the beatdown? Mm-hmm. And it's an article that identifies the scenario and creates a framework that you can apply to any deck you're playing. And it's just about like being aware of the relative conditions of the game.
This sounds like it's going to make me a better player.
It will. It absolutely will. It's the number one article, I think, that will make anyone playing the game a better player.
Yeah, it's something I'm trying to think about now when I'm in mulliganing mode in CDH, because I think that is just something I still really undervalue, is like how much that leads to success in the game. And it's just table assessment. I'm always so caught up with, can my hand get me there? Can my hand do the thing that like I don't always look at the other three people. What turn order are we in? Where is the turbo deck in that turn order? Where's the stacks deck in that turn order? That is really where I'm trying to get myself to, is analyzing that before I even draw my first hand.
Yeah, I have leaned on my natural instincts for too long to not know about this article.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that there's another article, I think, by Sam Black, When to Thoughtseize, that I think is a good general thing that, talks about what you are in relation to other players at the table, and a good card is context, right? When to play that card.
Yeah, and that is honestly when to play that card. That is what I'm trying to figure out on my Magic journey, is when to play that card properly. I want to shout out Mike Flores.
Who's the Beatdown?
Who's the Beatdown? January 1st, 1999.
Yeah,
this article.
It goes way back.
Still on Star City Games. Go check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll I'll try to find that link and put it in the description below so that any of you listeners there can find it and become better players.
Yeah, while we're talking about it, there's a third article, and again, I messed up. I don't know the author of it. It's about mana bases.
What's it called?
I don't know what that one's called. But it is the one that everyone talks about when building mana bases, and it just really lays out the math of it. Those three articles, if you know it, I hopefully Jordan finds it, but if not, somebody please mention in the comments. And if there's other canonical works you consider in Magic strategy, please mention those.
Yeah, definitely. Leaning back into mid-game, I almost feel like you got the article?
Maybe. Yeah, that might be the one. I would have to
the Channel Fireball article by Frank Karsten about...
Yes, Frank Karsten on mana. Yep.
Yeah, how many colored mana sources do you need to consistently cast your spells? It Guilds of Ravnica. So it looks like he does do this, but he has full tables breaking down...
It's like early 2000s.
Color pips and, everything like... card size deck, ratio, percentage of pulling what you need. So really three great articles to read.
Yeah, that's sick.
As someone actively working on their mana bases,
right?
Definitely one to check out.
100%. And that's as a player and as I've grown, I really wish I'd known about some of that stuff before. So if you're a new player and you're still listening to this, hey, we're in the same boat. Let's go out and read those articles.
I mean, that's why we always say on this Magic journey, right?
Yeah, totally.
Always becoming better.
Yeah, exactly. And the people we played with just this last week, I just realized how much further along on their careers in CDH they are.
Yeah.
That they understand lines and just that math of mana and how it contributes to the game, how you could have played or sequenced things differently to put one mana off that would have stopped them from going off later in the game.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy, but that's where we'll get to. That's the journey. That's, we're learning that every step of the way. This whole mid-range thing still throws me from time to time for sure, because it almost feels like people are coming up with it and developing it right as we're speaking. Right now, people are still developing these new mid-range strategies.
Totally, yeah. I mean, like I said, there's more reasons and more payoffs to do it than ever, and some new fresh ones actually scale to EDH and CDH. We're seeing that new Atraxa put in numbers in some of the CDH tournaments recently, just because it's a 4-color good stuff pile that says if you get to 6 mana?
7
mana, you just refresh your entire fucking hand.
You might get 10 cards off it.
Right. And if you have Displacer Kitten on the battlefield, just to name a card off the top of my head.
20 cards.
Pretty fucking good.
Yeah. That's actually part of Guy's build, was his food chain Atraxa, just being able to,
right.
We talked about the idea of running Emil in that deck to pay that 3 mana to flicker Atraxa to get that value. Is it a win more, or is it actually valuable since you're not able to play red?
I think it's a win more.
That's what we were trying to discuss. So other options and stuff like that. But there were a few lists that were actually running it for that whole hey, we're playing into the mid game, we're just expecting stacks because this is the meta we're in.
They're running MEL for that?
Yeah. So
that's just so wild to me. I would never do that.
And I saw it and I was just I don't know.
MEL
I really don't know. Yeah,
but
to pay 3 mana to flicker Atraxa, get
Well, it goes infinite with Dockside, but it's just I would never play it without red.
Yeah, without that, it doesn't seem like it would be very good.
But because you have Displacer Kitten, like that is so much better.
Right.
Many roads.
But also-
Redundancy.
Yeah. Redundancy. Yeah. Also good.
True.
Yeah.
One really good card and one really bad card in the deck.
I mean, it's kind of crazy to like remember when Emil came out that it was like $40 card and everyone wanted to play it because it looped with Dockside infinitely. And now, since it got reprinted in Double Masters, it's a $5 card.
$5. Let's go.
Yeah. So go out and get your Emil. So if you're looking to play Dockside loops in anything Naya at its base,
Reprints do work.
they do work. I hope we've touched at least a little bit on. I feel like it's just the tip of the iceberg for
Yeah.
Midrange.
For sure. I mean,
It's a whole archetype of decks.
Yeah, and it's always like changing always who's on top in the meta, right? Like, I feel like not that long ago it was Stacks, or before that it was Turbo, and before that it was Thrasios Midrange in every fucking deck, and here we are. People are starting to pick up Thrasios more. People are starting to pick up more mid-range decks.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm interested to see these tournaments we go to. Like, what are we coming across?
I still feel like I'm very confused, and because I naturally walk that line of stacks and mid-range, right? Like, I don't pick one side or the other. Like, all of my decks have a level of stacks to slow the game down, but not enough to like really affect me.
Right.
And so, but I'm still hoping to go fast enough to generate an engine that's going to allow me to win on turn 4.
Right.
Well, sounds like you're talking about mid-range. Mid-range is great going
Yeah.
into an unknown meta because it has strategies for both of the other archetypes. And
Yeah, and I'll be sure to report back with this, basically what is a newfound deck. Like, we're sort of like everyone's breaking ground
Yeah,
with
I mean,
Shalai and
this
Halar
is going to be one of the first tournaments to happen since it's come out.
well, I'm not here next week. You guys should record mini-sodes on each of your decks prior to the tournament on the final version of the
Wow,
deck.
that's actually a good idea. We'll probably be jamming lots of games this week and gearing up for it.
We can
Pre-tournament, post-tournament, boom, content, figured it out.
just solo one-on-one action. Jordan will pick up the microphone and he will
talk to you like this, and he will say, "This is my deck, and it does this thing."
and then I will get on the microphone and I'll say,
This is my deck.
And we'll take
This is what it does.
Welcome to ASMR Deck Tech.
Yeah, that's how we'll do it. Yes, I like that.
Just listen as I shuffle my cards.
And then the other person will be like, whoa. So cool.
I just learned a lot about ASMR. That was hot.
That was ASMR.
All right. That's about it for us here at the MoxStars podcast. If you guys have any comments or if you want to chime in about your mid-range strategies, be sure to leave the comments down below on YouTube or, find us and reach out to us on Instagram.
Talk to us on Discord,
Yeah, Discord.
where I'm
Instagram.
active. I'm so active on our Discord.
Come say hi to
So-
Chris on Discord.
Yeah,
and
I'm
give
always
us
there.
5 stars on Spotify,
Yep.
please, and thank you.
Yes. Please be sure, if you're listening on a podcast platform, figure out, it's honestly, it's harder than it looks.
Look around, top corner, bottom right corner. I don't give a shit.
It's really hard to rate a podcast. I don't
It's
know.
around there. Just scroll.
Yep. Find it. Give us 5 stars.
Write a letter to Steve Jobs.
We're at
get it processed.
45 minutes. You've had this long to scroll around and find that little 5-star button. Go click it.
Make it happen.
Make it so.
All right. Thank you guys for listening, and we'll catch you next time.
Peace.
Bye.
Bye-bye.